This is Echo 3, and let's discuss weaponizing the fireworks launchers. Yesterday, Doggers asked me how I made one of my crafts in a video, and in that I had put some little rocket launchers on a helicopter and was just testing out the fireworks and saying what they could do. Well, he was interested, well, how did I make this? Well, the helicopter, I have lots of tutorials on that, but I'm going to show how I weaponized the fireworks launchers. So I have a servo, a Cal 1000, and I placed the rotor there. The rotor is going to get bound to the Cal 1000, specifically the RPM value. And that is used to overclock the values on the fireworks launchers. This is similar to my infinite fuel videos, so if you've seen those or if you want to check those out, you can. But this is going to let me overclock those values. Now I'm throwing on 4 fireworks launchers. You can get more creative and do more than that, but this is what I used. Now I'm going to bind the launch velocity and the force of the fireworks to the Cal 1000 as well. So then when I go to the Cal 1000, I'm going to copy and paste the RPM value over to all of the other components here, and that sets them at 460. Normally they would only go to like 100 or whatever. Well, now they're going to be set up at 460, so the fireworks are really going to be moving pretty quickly as they eject from this craft. So that's my little overclock hack. Now I don't need the rotor anymore, I can get rid of it, but the fireworks themselves are set at 460, as you can see. Now I'm going to line these up with the servo so they will turn and be centered. This is going to help me create some kind of like Gatling gun effect or whatever. We'll have some fun with that. So I need to rotate these so that they'll be at different angles. So like 90, 180, minus 90, 0 with how the servo is set up. That way, as the servo turns, these things will be set at the proper angle. And well, I think it's going to be kind of fun what we end up with here. Just, I need to make sure they're in the right position, so I'm messing around. I see some of them are not quite centered. There we go. Not a big deal. I'm just going to use the move tool and set them around. Now I'm going to need another Cal 1000. This is for the firing sequence. The first one is just to overclock, and the second one's going to be for the firing sequence. So I need to bind the servo position to the Cal 1000 there, and then I need to bind the fireworks launch action to the Cal 1000. And I think I bound that Cal 1000 to action group 0. So every time I press 0, it will start to play this action sequence. Now I'm going to first adjust the servo. So I'm going to set this ultimately to a 4-second, I think like 4.02 second sequence. And then every second the servo will change position. So it starts at 0 degrees, and then it's going to rotate like to negative 90 degrees, and then it will rotate to I think like 180 degrees, and then back to 90 degrees, and then ultimately back to 0 degrees, and I'll have this Cal 1000 set to repeat. So what happens is when I press 0, the sequence will start and it will rotate. And I actually messed up a little bit here, but we'll fix that. It was not so much the sequencing, I just messed up placing the part. That'll get fixed. But as I press 0, it'll start this firing sequence, and I'll press 0 again, or action group 10, and it will stop the sequence. So it's not like I just hold my trigger down. I gotta press to start and press to stop. It works for me anyway. Not a big deal, but it will give me quite a bit of time of firing here. So that'll be kind of fun. There I went ahead and fixed my one piece there, the fireworks launcher. It was just turned wrong. So now I'm gonna clip these all together, and you'll see I'll have 4 launchers there kind of sticking out off of the servo, and that will then be able to rotate, and that's how I will work this craft. Let's throw a nose on this. we're going to need to, move this craft around somehow. So I think I'm going to make something that looks like a plane or something here, and we'll throw it around. Put a nose on this craft. I have other tutorials where I describe how to make a plane, and I'll get into the center of mass and the center of aerodynamic pressure, and how to keep the fuel levels balanced as they're used. I think I even get into some with wings, as far as dihedral and that kind of stuff. I'm gonna have a little bit of a dihedral effect on these wings. It just helps with craft stability, and this really isn't too important. In my last video, I weaponized these. I put it on a helicopter and made like little 8-round rocket pods. It was fun. So I'm just throwing on some wings here. We'll throw on some control surfaces. And they also can be used to help with the look of a craft. So I can give them 0 control authority so they won't move. But they'll just kind of add with the aesthetics, and they affect the center of aerodynamic pressure a bit, which will help pull it back. I need to make sure my center of aerodynamic pressure is going to end up being behind my center of mass. And if I drop these wings and then tilt them up a little bit like I am here on the edge, this will give it a little bit of dihedral effect and give it a little bit of stability. I am also rotating the wing up a little bit to increase its angle of attack, which will give the front wing just a little bit more lift and just help the plane a little bit as far as its aerodynamics. We'll throw on some elevators, and we'll throw on some rudders, and this looks like a decent craft that could fire some kind of big rockety gun thing out the front. We'll throw on just a couple engine nacelles here. Actually, these are just the air intakes. We'll throw the engines here on it. Yeah, that looks like a fun little craft here. Now I'm checking my center of aerodynamic pressure and my center of mass, and you can see I'm going to need to play with things just a little bit, but that's what I'm doing. Just moving things around. Looks like we got the basis of a decent craft. Now my engines are up a little bit, so I'm going to tilt them down a little bit. I switched from local to absolute centering there by pressing the F key. So you might see me moving around like that. Throw on some landing gear on this thing because I tend to take off. I place the landing gear on the body and then offset them out. It helps ensure that they are straight. Sometimes you might have wings that are tilted a little bit or whatever, so I like to place on the body. It also helps for uniformity because I know that the landing gear are placed at the same level, so when I move them around, they can all be perfectly level on the craft. I also disable steering on the rear landing gear, and they are pretty well set. Put on a few auto struts are here, and last thing we need to do is set up the firing of the actual rockets here. So I'm putting 8 shots per second, so it will shoot 8 from one of the fireworks launchers, rotate, shoot 8 more, rotate, shoot 8 more, rotate, shoot 8 more, and there we go. Maybe give this thing a catchy name, kind of like the Kerbal Hog here or something. Let's test it out, see how well this thing does. It actually flies pretty well. It's stable, turns easily. Let's try this cannon. I press action group 10 and it shoots these fireworks off. That's kind of fun. Let's try again, do another pass. Whoa, all right. Hey, well, that got rid of the science building. Good job, Jeb. We don't need that, right? We don't need to research anything. Hey, I am Echo 3. Thanks for joining me for this fireworks. I'll see you next time.